Welcome to Highland Explorer. Today we are trading the misty peaks for the lush, layered paradise of Bodnant Gardens in Wales. A place so lovely, even the bees are practically signing up for National Trust memberships. Bodnant isn't just any old garden, it's a legacy of beauty that's been pampered, pruned and polished for over 150 years. Think of it as Downton Abbey of gardens. Less family drama, way more rhododendrons. Stretching over 80 sprawling acres, yes, you'll absolutely crush that step goal, Bodnant Gardens is a masterclass in landscaping, blending formal terraces that look like they've been airbrushed by Mother Nature herself with wild woodlands fit for a Tolkien novel. You'll find everything from elegant Italianate terraces to a dell that could double as a hobbit hideout. So, grab a scone, lace up those walking boots, and if you're enjoying the view so far, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment on the wonders you'd explore first. Let's dive into this botanical masterpiece together. Now, Bodnant Garden didn't just pop up fully formed like some lush miracle in Wellies. It began in the late 1800s when industrial chemist Henry Pochin, known for making, of all things, a powder that turned soap white, decided to try his hand at greenery instead. Clearly Pochin had a knack for makeovers. He bought the land, started planting everything that wasn't bolted down, and transformed the hillside into a horticultural wonderland. Henry's daughter Laura married Charles McLaren, a Scottish politician who eventually became Lord Aberconwy. If that sounds posh, it's because it was. Charles was one pruning shear away from making gardening monthly. Together, the McLaren-Pochin clan spent the next several generations nurturing Bodnant like it was the family cat, adding exotic plants, elaborate terraces, and winding pathways. Thanks to their dedication, Bodnant blossomed from a few plants into an 80-acre masterpiece that still leaves visitors wondering, is this heaven, or just Wales on a good day? As time marched on, so did Bodnant Garden's design, evolving like a very posh botanical fashion show. Each era added its own flair, sometimes with the subtlety of a daffodil, and other times with the drama of a peacock. When Charles McLaren took the helm, he brought in the famous designers like Edward Milner, a landscape architect whose gardening skills were practically knight-worthy. Milner added the Italianate terraces, giving Bodnant a Roman holiday vibe, minus the Vespa. In the mid-20th century, Charles' son Henry McLaren, the sequel, took over and decided that Bodnant needed more exotic flair. So, naturally, he added plants from the Himalayas, China and America. Because what's a Welsh garden without a redwood or two? By now, Bodnant had gone full United Nations of flora, a global mashup of plants so varied you half expect each one to carry its own passport. Today, it's a breathtaking testament to over a century of green-thumbed obsession. But what about those Italianate terraces at Bodnant? Well, here you can strut around, feeling like a minor Medici, minus the political intrigue and questionable fashion choices. These terraces are a multi-level marvel, inspired by the Grand Renaissance designs, complete with stone balustrades, fountains, and statues that all seem to whisper, yes, you are absolutely fancy enough to be here. Descending the terraces feels like stepping through increasingly elaborate garden scenes. First, you've got the Grand Pavilion Terrace, where lush roses and flowering magnolias greet you like green-tinted royalty. Then there's the Lily Terrace, adorned with, you guessed it, lilies floating around a lovely fountain. There's even a canal, yes, a garden canal, lined with towering cypress trees that make you feel as if you're on a mini Venetian venture, minus the gondolas. And scattered throughout are statues with expressions so noble, you almost expect them to leap off their pedestals and offer you gardening tips. Venturing into the dell at Bodnant is like diving headfirst into a fairytale forest, where you half expect woodland creatures to pop up and offer you gardening advice. Unlike the prim and proper terraces, the dell is all wild heart and untamed charm. It's nestled along the banks of the river, with towering trees, bubbling streams, and a jungle of plants that seem to thrive on the sheer drama of it all. Here, ferns grow like they're in a green race to the sky. Camellias burst with colour, and rhododendrons, let's just say they're not shy. They bloom in explosive pinks and reds that make even the mildest visitor feel a sudden urge to redecorate their own backyard. Adding to the mystical vibe, stone bridges arc gracefully over the river, and every step feels like you've wandered into a Celtic legend. It's wild, romantic, and just the right amount of unruly, like nature's very own rebellious teenager. Now, if you think that gardens hibernate through winter, the Bodnant Winter Garden is here to prove you spectacularly wrong. The frosty season gem was designed to bring life and colour to those grey Welsh winters, showing off blooms that laugh in the face of chilly temperatures. Picture fiery red dogwood stems, bright yellow witch hazel, and the delicate white snowdrops, all gathered together like a planned version of a winter fashion show. Even in the dead of winter, this garden is strutting its stuff. The design philosophy here is all about texture and colour, proving that winter doesn't have to be all bare branches and hibernating hedgehogs. The winter garden features evergreen foliage, berry-bearing shrubs, and vibrant stems so eye-popping they practically glow. It's like a botanical pep rally, cheering on the rest of the garden to survive till spring. But Bodnant Garden isn't just famous for being pretty, it's also a serious plant collector's paradise. A bit of a floral hall of fame, where the stars are, well, trees and shrubs. Take the magnolias for instance, towering beauties that look like they belong on the red carpet at the Chelsea Flower Show, each blossom as big as a small child's head. Then there are the rhododendrons, which put on a colour show so vivid that sunglasses feel necessary. And let's not overlook the garden's champion trees, which are so large and old they are practically historical figures. Bodnant boasts the UK's tallest redwood, standing proudly as if it has exclusive VIP status, which, let's face it, it does. Other notables include the rare Himalayan poplars and ancient oaks that look as if they've been given the side eye to passersby since the 1700s. It's not just a garden, it's a leafy, blooming hall of legends. But Bodnant isn't all about gardens. Bodnant Hall, a grand old mansion that's been keeping an eye on the gardens since the mid-18th century, like a stately chaperone making sure the rhododendrons stay in line. Though it's not open to the public, so no spontaneous tea parties, sadly. The hall's elegant presence adds a Downton Abbey vibe to Bodnant grounds. Imagine ivy-clad walls and tall windows that, if they could talk, would probably say, "Yes, you may admire us." Then there's the pin mill, which looks like it wandered over from an English village and decided to stay. Originally a watermill in Gloucester, it was dismantled, shipped over and plopped down here in the 1930s. It's now a picturesque little building by the canal terrace, lending a Shakespearean air that makes you wonder if you should be reciting sonnets as you walk by. And we can't forget the charming bridges and gazebos scattered throughout, each one looking like it was crafted specifically for fairytale meet cutes. The stone bridges arch over the streams with an elegance that practically begs for a dramatic stroll. The garden walls, meanwhile, stand stoic and mossy, creating perfect backdrops for daydreaming and maybe a light wall leaning, if you're in that sort of mood. Bodnant Garden isn't just a pretty face, it's a living legacy of horticultural genius, historical charm, and architectural quirks that have been captivating visitors for over a century. It's the kind of place that feels like it's been plucked from a dreamscape, with every plant, path, and picturesque bridge seems to have its own story to tell. A true treasure trove of botanical marvels, Bodnant has evolved into a vibrant tapestry of colour, fragrance, and let's face it, photo ops that will make your Instagram followers swoon. So, if you haven't already packed a picnic and marked Bodnant on your map, what are you waiting for? Take the leap, or at least the drive, and experience this Welsh wonder for yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to Highland Explorer for more adventures, garden envy, and all the details you won't find in a guidebook. See you in the next video.